I am busy enough.
Yes, we are live. So, hello everyone. I'm Sanjay Gupta, and after quite a long time, I'm just back again on my YouTube channel, and I have Chaitanya with me. Hello, Chaitanya. Welcome back onto the
Hi,
channel.
hi Sanjay. Glad to be here.
So, I hope everything is going good.
All good. How are you?
I'm also doing good. Just got busy with the Skill Horizon stuff and
Yeah,
recently started Office for Encoder app, so was unable to find some time for YouTube. But
yeah.
as you know, like we are starting something related to business analysts. So guys, we are going to start a course around business analysts. So that's why we both are here so that we can give you some idea and we can share some of the interview related scenarios and questions so that you will be able to know why business analyst path will be useful for us. Okay,
Right.
so basically we have categorized our questions into four categories, right? So in the first category, I will be asking some generic BA related questions with Chaitanya, and going forward, few questions will be coming from the Salesforce side, because if you are going for a BA role, so Salesforce knowledge is mandatory. At least admin related stuff you need to know. Then we'll go for some scenario related questions, and finally we'll pick the AI, because no domain or no role is there which is not touched by the AI. So if you are related to IT industry or you want to build your career, no matter whatever role you are picking, you need to know how AI can be utilized in that, or how AI is impacting that particular role.
Right.
Okay, so without wasting much time, I think we can start with the generic question first. So, Chaitanya, there is a common question in front of the whole Salesforce community, or out of that as well, because BA role is common for lots of domain. So, how do
Mhm.
you ensure a smooth transition from BRD to FRD without losing business context?
So, see, Sanjay, that's actually a good question because a lot of times you are supposed to make that transition. And if I was at that place, I would always create a traceability matrix wherein I would be linking BRD to FRD. And how would I do it? I would do it using creating some process flows out of it. So, by doing all these activities, I will be able to catch the scope gap very effectively and therefore preserve all the original requirements and therefore do the transition successfully.
Okay, and related to this, like if we go for the requirement validation, so what's your process for validating requirements for non-technical stakeholders?
Uh, there is no one formula or one straightforward answer for it. But if asked to in an interview, a professional way of answering it would be first term that you should use is iterative prototyping. All in all, this basically means that you break the project into smaller chunks and then you keep on doing the UAT sessions again and again, so the client is more aware about it. Plus, you do the walkthrough sessions and you do the walk the wall review. So these are some technical fancy words. And as I always say, fancy words, very simple meaning. This basically means that you sort of give the boat to the customers, and it's more of a you're just sticking up your chits on the wall, and you're just trying to connect the dots all together. So if you are able to create that particular kind of scenario there, wherein the client first talks about their thought process, and from there on you take on the perspectives, and from there on you start on, I would say. Start explaining features to the end client. That is what makes requirement validation very simple, that too in the UAT phase.
Okay, perfect. So I think whatever you explained, it will help people understand
Yeah.
like how we can actually validate requirements as the business analyst.
Yeah.
Uh, like apart from validation, there is another thing that is prioritization. Sorry. So,
Mhm.
which framework do you use when stakeholders can't agree on feature priorities?
So actually, this is a very, very generic situation that comes in front of business analysts. And of course, there are different techniques available in the market. But an answer that would differentiate you from the others would be a technique which we call as WSJF. The full form of that is weighted shortest job first. As the name suggests, you basically assign points to different features on the different bases, and those bases or parameters are number one, the business value, then the time, criticality, risk, education, and so on. And some organizations might have their own parameters on that basis. So when you give the numbers and when it happens in a group conversation, that is when you come with the final scores on different features. And once you do that, then you give the prioritization to different requirements, and it's a group activity, so everybody is satisfied as well. So if you give this a sort of answer in an interview, that would always give you some brownie points.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is about prioritization. So whatever Chaitanya explained, so if you follow that approach, so I think you will be able to prioritize your jobs properly with the help of this framework. And another thing that is related to this, like gap analysis, like we can validate the requirements, but how we can identify the gap uh, in the requirements or whatever discussions we are doing with the customer. So any thoughts on that?
So, see, the thing is that when it comes to gap analysis, the best way to answer is, of course, you say that I will have a look at the current state, the future state, and then I will figure out the gap in between and do the implementations. But again, our job is here is to explore answers which will set us apart from the other candidates. So the words or some terms that you can use is number one, as is. That is, I will have the as is process flows in front of me. As is equals to the current flow. That is a more fancy word to use. Then what will be the expected stage? That comes under the ambit of to be. So this is how basically you use the keywords or fancy words, if I may quote it, to make your knowledge more specific. And eventually, if you come up with the parameters of process, data, and technology being used while you are figuring out these changes or gaps in between, that is when gap analysis can go the best.
Okay, perfect. So I think these were the generic like questions that every BA should know, and I'm sure like if someone joins our training that we are going to start from this week. So
Yeah.
guys, this is a like training program where Chaitanya will be taking each and every session in a personalized way, and like right now you understood that in very less statements, very less lines. If you want to understand these things practically, you want to implement them, so what you can do, you can join that particular course, and the information is available on our website skillhorizon.org.in. You can review the course curriculum, because if you are new to this particular role you want to switch to, then that particular course will really help. So moving forward, this was
Sanjay, sorry to interrupt, but maybe at the end of the session, I can just quickly share my screen and show the this business analysis webpage, wherein all the details are there, so people have more context. And we'll be, of course, sharing the link of this particular course in the description as well.
Exactly.
So, guys, if if I know for most of you, you'll not be able to correlate to these questions a lot and these answers a lot. So that is why this particular program is. Once you enroll in the program, you will be able to answer a lot of questions, understand a lot of things here. And of course, these few questions is not the only thing. You have to gain a lot of knowledge, but this is just to give you an idea of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, now if we talk about the Salesforce side, apart from the generic thing, because most of the people, those are associated with my community, they just want to become a BA into Salesforce ecosystem, right? So if we talk about data modeling, so how data modeling is important, and how do you design Salesforce data models for complex B2B scenarios?
So I would say when it comes to data modeling in Salesforce, that is the first step of requirement elicitations and requirement gathering. And I would always start with figuring out the entity relationship or the ER diagrams with respect to the custom objects, because of course standard objects we all of us know, but when it comes to custom objects, that is when the game gets a little complex. So there might be different objects which are involved in the project. So it is very important to identify that which custom objects will be created, what will be the relationship between them, and especially figuring out the many-to-many relationships and figuring out that how best the junction objects can be utilized around it. So if asked a question related to data modeling in Salesforce as a BA, use these words, ER diagrams with custom objects, use the words like many-to-many relationship and junction objects. That would make it a very, a good combination of all the answers.
Okay, perfect. And just wanted to know like about governor limits. Like if you are associated with the business analyst role, so how do you optimize Salesforce solutions to stay within governor limits?
So actually, some people who are watching this session might think that, okay, as a BA, what do I have to do with the governor limits? Which is a fair enough question. But I feel like that as a BA, you need not know how to configure, how to make sure these governor limits are there. But you should know what are governor limits and a little bit of things here and there. And this applies to all the Salesforce fundamentals, and that is how we cover the Salesforce topics in our live training as well. That we cover the basics of the platform. We do not get into the technicality of it because that is what you require as a BA. So I would answer that first one. I would bulkify the triggers. I would use some asynchronous epics, and I would prefer SOQL for loops with collections over iterative queries. I know these can be a little fancy words to understand or not to understand, but once you get into the sessions, once you start learning, you will be able to understand the basics of it. And we always keep things as much transparent as possible. You need not know how to write down triggers. You need not know how to write down the detailed queries, I would say. But if you just know these terms, you create a very good impression on the interviewer. That's all.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, this was a little bit about Salesforce. Those are generic questions I asked. Now let's jump onto the scenario side. Like if you focus on the scenario related to business analyst. So if there is a question like C-level executives reject your requirements due to unclear ROI, how do you get approval? So what's your thoughts on this question?
So, as per my understanding, maximum times when the leadership would reject your proposed automations or anything, they somewhere feel that it does not have a very high ROI. So automations and everything, we as software engineers, we as techies like automations, we love automations, but we have to understand from the business perspective as well. If end of the day you're doing a lot of automation, but it is not helping generate that much amount of money or save that much amount of time, it is of no use. Right? So that is why I would, if I was in that place, I would always first build a POC for the business use case. And then I would sort of show a demo of it that if implemented at a large scale, this much time it would save, this much money it would save, depending upon the situation. So you can quote an example that I was working with an organization and I showed them how by building these particular automations or these process automations, we could save X amount of dollars every year. So when you talk to the leadership in numbers, in business values, that is when they understand it more.
Okay, perfectly explained. And another question to you related to some scenario. It is related to vendor integration delays. Sometimes it happens, and suppose a third-party API integration fails repeatedly during testing. How do you resolve it before launch?
This has happened with me. So there was a time when we were going for a launch, and somehow the third-party cases were not working that much. So, and it was a very, very critical scenario. So we had to run it in the UAT, or we had to sort of give a demo to the client before we deploy it. So we came up with a fallback middleware, if you may, wherein instead of showing everything on the UI, we just show the success or the failure messages somewhere on the console. And then we say to the customer that we have already escalated this particular problem to the third party. This is not on us. But from our end, what we did is that we created a parallel path by which the basic success and failure can be validated. So you have the confidence that before going into the deployment or before going for the launch, maximum things are working fine. So do not take it as an excuse. Yes, you have to escalate it, but you have to find out an alternate or a parallel path as well.
Okay, yeah, that is correct. Now, another scenario I have, which is related to cross-functional misalignment, right? So sometimes business users and IT teams disagree on MVP scope 2 weeks before sprint zero. So what's your approach? How that can be resolved?
This happens a lot of times, and I have seen that the BAs might talk to the clients, and when it goes to developers or the QAs, the story is entirely different. So that is when I would, and as a BA, you have to get used to it. You have to bring different people on the same stage, on the same platform. So if I was in that situation, I would pull up the business team, that is the end client, the end stakeholders, the fellow BAs, the fellow developers, QAs, and any other profiles for that matter. And then we would do a quick prototyping session wherein we talk about the different personas and the different aspects and the different confusions, and then get them all answered at the same stage. So then there is no confusion later on. And as a BA, you are supposed to be a bridge between the end client, the stakeholders, and the internal implementation team. So if you have to take care of cross-functional misalignment, this is something which is very important to do.
Yeah, perfectly. Okay, so yeah, these questions were related to some scenarios which were random. Again, I would say, like, if you want to deep dive, you want to understand all these things, practical aspects, because Chaitanya almost completed 7 to 8 years in the ecosystem, and he has both QA, BA, and in QA he is also doing some automation, right? So he is knowing everything about those particular sites, and like every quarter we are starting a new batch where you can learn business analysis or quality analysis or automation testing. So soon we are going to start one batch for business analysis under the skill horizon. So you can see like what type of questions we are discussing here. So same things we'll be discussing in the real time sessions, and more these type of questions you will be facing. You will be implementing these things in real time, right? So that is how our course curriculum is designed, and he will be discussing little bit about that also. Now coming to the last section, that is related to AI. So first thing that comes in the mind when we talk about AI, that is like how ethical it is, ethical requirements. Okay, so how do you write requirements for AI solutions? Why addressing bias and ethics?
Right. So I always say to all my trainees that do not follow AI blindly. And honestly, see AI. If you say AI is going to replace me, that's far away from the truth. AI is a person. Treat AI as an assistant of yours, as someone who will fasten up your work. But end of the day, AI is a machine, is a system. It's not a human. So you have to review everything. And there's a concept that we call as HITL, which is humans in the loop in AI. So if you want to create requirements, refine requirements with AI, go ahead and do it. But make sure that you are always reviewing it, and you always embed fairness constraints. For example, you should include the demographic situations or the demographic scenarios, remove any biases which are there, remove any hallucinations which are there. So all in all, if you remove all the hallucinations and bias, along with making sure that you give it a review, which is humans in the loop, you will surely make sure that your requirements are addressing the bias and the ethics issues in AI.
Okay, perfect. So again, last question. This is also related to AI, and the idea behind this is change impact analysis, right? So how do you assess business impact when introducing AI-driven process automation?
When you are including AI, the biggest fear in the employees is that we may have an impact on the employment. So that is why you have a huge responsibility on your shoulders. So that is why you have to, of course, map the current and the future state processes and everything. But you have to make sure that you quantify those rules. That is, if you're implementing AI, you always keep the FTE, the reduction, the reskillings, and everything in account, and you try to have least impact on the humans' jobs. Because and it's not about moralistic reasons. We have seen that sometimes the AI implementations are super fast and they do not keep everything in account, and that because of that the human resources are impacted, because of which now they have to rehire, and it is an added cost to the company. So that is why whenever you are going for implementing any AI driven automations in the system, you always have to be very, very aware that you quantify all the roles by the full time estimations, by the hours, by the amount of effort they're putting in, how the reskilling can help, and how can they be mapped to other places, and how AI can fasten up their process instead of replace. So these are the things that if you answer in your interview, they'll be a big help to you.
Okay. So, Chaitanya, one issue, power cut is there, so that's why my picture is looking like this. Let me just. So maybe you can continue and guide people on the course that we are going to start, because this was the last
Sure,
question that I wanted to ask. So
sure.
if you can.
So I will just share my screen and I will quickly walk through the curriculum that we have. So just a second. I think you need to give me the permission to share, Sanjay.
Yeah, just a second. Yeah, I gave you the permission.
Sure. Okay, so my screen is visible, I hope.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, folks who are watching this right now and will watch later, this is the course curriculum for the business analyst program, and it is more of focus on Salesforce and AI, as you can see, the one which is highlighted. You can go and have a look at the course curriculum, the different modules. We start from the basic, and by the way, you need not have any prerequisites before joining this program. It's all from the beginner level, from the scratch level, and we make you job ready after this program. You can go and have a look at all of these different modules and assess them in detail. And if you have any questions, you feel free to click on this button, which will take you to an open WhatsApp group, which is an official WhatsApp group of Skill Horizon, wherein we add everyone. The benefits of number one, that you will be, you can reach out to me. You'll find my number there in the list of participants as an admin. And you can always ask a question. I mean, anywhere on LinkedIn post or anywhere for on a YouTube comment with sharing a number, and we'll reach out to you. The second is that we will be starting from 16th of April as written over here. And the first three sessions will be demo sessions, which is the free of cost ones. And FYI, we do not keep the demo sessions as the marketing ones. We start from raw, real content from day one only. So we give you the real time experience of it. So all the details, that how you can join that particular demo session, how you can, what will be the timings, any piece of information, fee, Google form, everything will be shared on this WhatsApp group. So I would suggest click on this and join this WhatsApp group. And if you want to go and book some counseling, click on this, and someone from our staff will reach out to you, and then you can reach out to me and we can talk about your questions. And if you want to enroll directly, that is also up to you. If you enroll later, your fee would be this, and if you enroll right now, we are offering an early bird discount just as an FYI. The major idea of showing you this particular web page is that this is where you will find all the information. You will find the credibility of our program, and you follow our LinkedIn page. We keep on sharing a lot of feedbacks that we receive from our ex-trainees, which have been placed at in good organizations. So, but all in all, if you have any questions, you want to ask us anything, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to answer all your queries. So, yeah, that's all from my side, Sanjay.
Okay, perfect, Chaitanya. I think you already shared everything. And guys, in the description, you will find link of the website and our sales team number. So you can call or WhatsApp. You can visit the website, as Chaitanya mentioned. You can join the WhatsApp group. So all these details are available. So feel free to reach out and be part of the ecosystem as a business analyst after learning this course.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we are good,
Okay.
Chaitanya. We shared
Thank you.
every detail, and we gave the idea also, like why business analyst role is important and what type of situations they might be facing when they will be
Right.
working on the BA role. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so
Okay. Okay.
thank you, Chaitanya, for coming on to the YouTube channel and sharing your thoughts. And let's see how things goes. And we'll be having the demo session, so we'll see. I think lots of people will be turning up and will be joining the demo, and then we'll help them to become a business analyst in the ecosystem.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.